Tennessee has now made 7 straight NCAA tournaments. They've reached the Sweet 16 3 straight years. They reached the Elite 8 last year and could still reach their first Final Four this year. We showed a few weeks ago that Rick Barnes has been the best NCAA tournament coach in the SEC over the last 6 tournaments. He's got more units, more wins piled up than anybody else in those years. Will, has he turned a corner in March, in your opinion?
I think so. I thought, especially with the way he's been able to, the last few years, evolve what he does offensively. Now, there are still those moments where his defense will struggle because of what they do offensively, that he'll yank them back, which I don't love. But I have Tennessee in the finals losing to Florida. And the reason why is I believe Rick Barnes has changed. I also think basketball's changed. He's better right now, it seems like. I don't know if there's a team or a program in the nation that has benefited more from NIL and the transfer portal in the sport of college basketball than Tennessee has. Look at what it's done for them the last couple of years. So, yeah, I think Rick Barnes has changed because he knows the new way of doing business. I think that he's evolved enough offensively that, especially in this day and age in college basketball, Tennessee can absolutely make a run. And I think Tennessee will get the program's first ever Final Four this year.
Okay, well, let's hold off on the last segment is the projections. Okay. Talk to me, guys, about Rick Barnes. Do you feel more confident in him in the tournament now?
I mean,
or is it still too soon to say? It's a body of work versus 3 years now.
It helps to have some senior guards, right? I mean,
Sure.
the NCAA tournament, we've known for years, guards can dominate, especially if they tend to be lower scoring games. I think in the tournament, had you lost 3 straight to the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament, so I still have a hard time considering UCLA as
Right.
a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
But you hadn't played very well in postseason against the Big Ten, correct? You'd seen them in your season. When you
Yeah,
talk about
Michigan,
Michigan, you
yeah.
talk
Michigan
about
and
Purdue.
Yeah.
So to get a win and advance, I don't know necessarily that they've turned the corner under Barnes. I think he's always been a pretty good basketball coach. I just think you've
Hasn't
got
been in March.
Yeah, I just think you've got guys that are more on the same page with what he wants to do because they've been in the program so long.
Well,
At the very least, the answer to your question cannot be no, because his record and his results are improving.
Yeah.
And we can dive into the reasons. Having senior guards and big-time scores, that has to help. Getting Dalton Connect is a reason that they were able to go to the Elite Eight, right? So I do think to the adaptation of this era, taking advantage of transfer opportunities.
Yes.
But the program invites those guys. What Dalton did and what the program has done, the culture of it, invited Chaz Lanier because he's getting a lot of money, but he could have gotten more somewhere else. He decided to come to Tennessee.
instead of Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.
So both sides benefit from that. But if you lacked trust in Rick Barnes as a coach in March 2 or 3 years ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I just don't know what argument you can make at this point because they could lose in the next round. But again, that applies to everybody. I think you should have confidence in Rick Barnes and the players that he has helped develop over these last couple
This
of years.
first show that he has Chaz and Igor to bring in guys like that, to me, shows he's evolved. Right, because in the past, Rick Barnes was my big, has their backside down on the block. My point guard runs everything on my offense. My point guard shoots a lot, and then will work the ball inside out if everybody else spaces the floor. To me, bringing in the guys that are face-up players like this tells me that he's at least evolved in his thinking, and I think it's led to him having more success right
He's
now.
continued to hire good assistant coaches
Yep.
too. They have a strong staff that has helped develop what they are right now as a team.
And look how much freedom Connect had last year.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd ever see Rick Barnes, but he saw how tough it would be to stop him if you were trying to guard him. And so he gave him that freedom. But that's one way that he has evolved. I don't know if he's turned a corner really as much as he has just evolved the way he coaches.
First time he's been to 3 straight Sweet 16s since 2002, 2003, 2004, and one of those was a Final Four team. So it's been a while since he's had this kind of consistent stretch in the NCAA tournament. Tennessee as a program has never been to 3 straight Sweet 16s. In the NIL and portal era, which we're talking about, it can change quickly. But I don't think there's any doubt anymore from anyone out there, to me, in terms of taking this program to a level and having a consistent stay there, where you're not having to worry who's going to be arrested tomorrow, who's going to be kicked off the team tomorrow. You're going to have this huge backslide next year. I mean, if he was going to have a backslide, you would have thought it would have been this year when you're having to go out and bring in 4 new guys, and he did it. Now, maybe it's next year if he's around next year. And there were rumors this week that we kind of talked about on the show months ago. Rumors, ESPN referred to rumors that he may think about retirement at the end of this year. Well, if he's not, if he stays around, he's going to have to rebuild again. And I have confidence now in watching it the last couple of years that, yeah, he can do it. I don't care if he's 70, 71. He can get this done. He's got the vigor to go out there and rebuild it this way. The thing that's impressive to me in terms of changing is he has always been about a culture. It's always been about guys that come in my system and stay here for years and blah, 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 blah. Now he's showing, I can have just as much success plucking guys here and there, putting it together and meshing it. Because that's the thing. And I know everyone's doing it now at a different level. John Calipari, but it took Calipari a longer time to put that team together. They struggled early.
A lot of injuries, too.
Barnes figures this thing out.
Right.
And he figured it out quickly. So I give him tons of credit. I don't know that this program has ever been in better shape
No.
than it is right now.
I mean, they're at more than 80 consecutive weeks now being ranked, and a lot of that time is ranked near the top.
Yeah, top 10 at
5
least.
weeks this year, number 1, and a lot of time top 5, top 10. So they've been consistent. They've been elite among consistent programs winning at a high level. With all the 25-plus win seasons they've had, they had an SEC tournament title, regular season title, multiple 2-seed opportunities, being in play for a 1 seed. So the list just doesn't really end with what they've done as compared to Tennessee basketball before Rick Barnes arrived. So, I mean, he's put together the best 10-year run we've seen, and I still think the run could go for another 2 or 3 years. That wouldn't surprise me at all, despite the rumors the past week.
And plus, he schedules up. Don't forget that. I mean, he
does,
plays.
yeah.
It's not like he's doing this against the Sisters of the Poor.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
even this year, the schedule didn't look as good as it has in some past years.
Right,
But
but-
you had Baylor, who made the tournament, Louisville, who turned their things around, made the tournament, Illinois, who made the tournament.
Right.
It just wasn't stacked with top 10 teams when you played them, but it turned out a lot of tournament teams were still on there, and he does go out and schedule up. All right, when we come back, the SEC's top 4 seeds are still alive, but is the SEC the best league so far? We'll talk about that. We got a little football to come. Then we're going to get into Kentucky or Illinois. Who do you want to face Friday in Indianapolis? We'll talk about which of these teams, how they match up against Tennessee. How does Tennessee stack up against the remaining teams in the Midwest Regional? All that on the Sports Source. Come on back.